Well, Janine, the two brothers and their mom marked that medical miracle by coming back here to Montefiore Medical Center, where 10 years ago that successful surgery was performed. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Cassidy here at the Rising in Valhalla. After a day of somber observances at Ground Zero and all across the nation, tonight Westchester will pay tribute to the 111 victims from this county who died during the worst terror attack on American soil. While Republicans are in Rye carving out their path to Albany, Democrats like Governor Andrew Cuomo and President Barack Obama will be here in Tarrytown. The president plans to use the Tappan Zee Bridge as a backdrop to urge Congress to vote on a new funding plan for road and bridge construction projects all across the country. Thanks for joining us during this breaking news. I'm Tim Cassidy. We have been on breaking news mode for you now for about 6 hours after this train, Metro North train on the Harlem line, collided with a car that was stuck on the tracks in Valhalla. That train then pushed that car about 400 feet down the tracks. A fire ensued, a subsequent fire between the car and that first train car, and the third rail came up through the floor of the car, causing most of the injuries and death. 7 people are dead tonight. 10 people are seriously injured, 2 with non-life-threatening injuries. That meeting is set to get underway shortly here at SUNY Purchase inside the Performing Arts Center. But this morning, it was Westchester business owners and leaders who got a one-on-one with state officials regarding the new Tappan Zee Bridge. Those state officials say this project is well underway. This is the house right behind me. It's a daycare by day. There were 8 kids inside at the time when police say a man with a gun ran in there. Of course, the fear was that there could have been a hostage situation, but it ended much differently. Well, much of the buzz about the presidential visit has been the timing of it, coinciding with the start of the state Republican convention being held just miles away in nearby Rybrook. He was just days away from being put down, but he got a second chance when he was rescued by Pet Rescue in Larchmont. It took fire crews hours to try to contain this fire, but as you can see now, it is out and it is under control. But at times, thick smoke just completely took over this entire street. Most of the dead inside the school in Pakistan, children between the ages of 12 to 16. Hello, Elvis. As you can see, Elvis is pretty psyched to be back home. He's really talking now. And this family says they're going to make sure Elvis no longer leaves the building. In New Rochelle, Tim Cassidy, News 12. Hello, Elvis. The seismologists here at Lamont Doherty, they study earthquakes that occur all throughout the world. Well, today they actually felt those same tremors that so many people felt here in the Hudson Valley. And Janine, what a wild ride it was, and it all ended right here when that driver ended up crashing into a parked car. But what I want to show you is where this journey began, way up at the top of Elm Street. It's a ride the driver says she never thought she was going to live through.
I really thought I was going to die. I was so scared. I was so scared.
Katie Hackett is the woman who was behind the wheel of this Jeep during a wild ride down an ice-covered Elm Street in Yonkers Sunday morning.
I didn't think I was going to make it. I really didn't. I just prayed and said, oh, please help me.
She lost all control.
And then I ended up sideways, so I said, oh, please don't let it flip over.
A neighbor captured the harrowing experience on tape from their window. Katie is 5.5 months pregnant and was on her way to a doctor's appointment at the time. She says there was no indication the road was that bad. She recently took a defensive driving course, pumped the brakes, and turned the wheel, avoiding dozens of vehicles. I mean, that's about 50 cars on the way down, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
After sliding for about 1/4 mile, she crossed through the intersection at William Street, hit the sidewalk, a fire hydrant, and then a car parked with a woman sitting inside.
I kind of made it to hit that car because once I went through that intersection, there was people coming outside, so I knew that I needed to get this car stopped or somebody else was going to get hurt.
Katie, the baby she's carrying, and the woman sitting in the other car were not hurt. Both vehicles, however, were damaged, but Katie is just grateful.
I'm just glad that nobody's life was taken and I didn't hurt anybody worse than what happened. I feel horrible about the other person's vehicle.
An unbelievable journey down this hill. It is amazing that nobody was injured. Now, Katie says she is upset about the fact that she was in her car at 7:45, and she says she didn't see a Salter or a Sander out here till after 10 in the morning. We did reach out to City Hall, and a spokesperson tells us Salters and Sanders were out all morning and afternoon, and that they always urge drivers to use extra caution while driving in those types of conditions. We're in Yonkers tonight. Tim Cassidy, News 12. Back to you guys in the studio. Things really got out of control after those Muslim women were told that they could not get on certain rides here at Rye Playland with those head scarves on. We've got video of the fight where some say police just went too far. A brawl between police and Muslim Americans here at Rye Playland. This cell phone video taken Tuesday afternoon when it broke out. Some say county police overreacted, subduing a woman.
And then he grabbed her by the hijab. I don't know if you know the word was mean hijab, and he slammed her down. And then it was like about 10 cops jumping above her, and she must get hurt.
Ali Al-Jazali, who took the cell phone video, says several other people were also taken down abruptly by police. About 3,000 members of the Muslim American Society of New York were at the Westchester County-run amusement park celebrating the end of Ramadan. Some of the women, however, became upset when they were told they could not go on certain rides with their headscarves on, also called hijabs. They weren't singled out. It's a broad policy here at Playland.
Headgear means anything from a baseball cap to any sort of religious piece that somebody may be wearing. They're not allowed on various rides for safety reasons.
The women, however, were offered a refund, but a fight between about 4 or 5 Muslims broke out.
2 girls were fighting, right?
Girls were fighting?
Yeah. And then, we other girls, they don't want to let this happen. So it's a holiday. So they tried to separate them. They came, like bunch of girls, and then the cops came. The cops thought that they were all fighting each other, and then they took all the girls.
When police tried to break up the fight, 2 park rangers were injured and taken to the hospital. A call went out for all hands on deck, and a swarm of police from 8 different departments descended on the amusement park, some in riot gear.
As a precautionary measure, we call for mutual aid assets from other county police officers and some of the local police departments to stand by in case they were needed.
12 Muslim men and 3 Muslim women were arrested. Some are calling for calm among the Muslim population.
This thing got out of control. Got out of control for all sides, and hence we're here. Or else if it didn't get out of control and everything was under control, we wouldn't be here. And there wouldn't be people who are just being released from prison as we speak.
Now, most of the people that were arrested are facing misdemeanors, but 2 are facing felonies. They're the ones accused of hurting those 2 park rangers. Now, the deputy parks commissioner says that he told the person who was in charge of setting this day up for the Muslim American Society of New York about this headgear policy. But they say that obviously that message did not reach everyone. We're at Rye Playland. Tim Cassidy, News 12. Suzanne, back to you in the studio. Patrick Perrietti is a Nyack middle school teacher with legs of steel and a heart of gold. He's heading back to Boston to show his love for the city, its people, and the victims of last year's terror attack. Patrick Perrietti of Nyack is heading back to Boston.
I had to go back, yeah.
Perrietti was at the marathon 1 year ago. He had crossed the finish line when just minutes later,
I heard the first bomb, and then I heard the second one, and then people started running around basically frantically in the streets.
his elation over just having completed his 9th Boston Marathon quickly turned to
shock, fear, disbelief.
3 were killed and more than 170 others injured. Perrietti, who is a special education teacher at Nyack Middle School, now showing his students that he won't let fear keep him from running in Beantown again. Here at Nyack Beach State Park, the 54-year-old is gearing up for his 39th marathon in a city where he says he feeds off the cheering crowd.
It's an unbelievable experience.
And he says his own thoughts during this race won't be so much about his own aches and pains.
Maybe when your legs start hurting at like mile 20, you're going to just say, hey, you know, don't even think about it, you know, because there's other people that are suffering a lot more from what happened last year.
As you can see, Patrick is physically prepared to head back to Boston, but what I wanted to know, is he mentally prepared to head back to the place where so many lives were changed forever?
We don't run, the terrorists win, and it's sort of a cliche, but it really is true. We got to keep on doing what we're doing and not let this way of life we have get ruined. You know, this is the United States of America. You got to keep on keeping on.
Patrick will be tweeting pictures before, during, and after the marathon on Monday to cheer him on and watch his progress. You can follow me on Twitter at TimCassidy12, and we certainly wish Patrick the best of luck on Monday.